Hey everyone, I hope you're doing all right. So, after more than 6 weeks of tension, missed paychecks, and nonstop political fighting, the government shutdown is finally ending. It's been the longest one in US history, 42 days. And now that a deal's been reached, a lot of people are asking one question: what happens next? For millions of federal workers, families on food assistance, and travelers stuck in delays, the answer isn't as simple as everything goes back to normal. The truth is the road ahead might be uneven, and there are a few surprising things about what reopening actually means that most people don't know yet. So stay with me, because today we're breaking down what reopening looks like for regular Americans, what's changing immediately, and what challenges might still be waiting around the corner. Before we start, let me know in the comments, how has the shutdown affected you or someone you know? All right, so first off, yes, the Senate finally passed the bill to reopen the government, 60-40. That vote only happened because 8 Democrats crossed over to support the Republican proposal. It was a controversial move, but one that finally broke the gridlock. A lot of people were fed up. You had nearly 1 million federal workers either furloughed or working without pay, families waiting on food benefits that were frozen, and airports running with skeleton crews. People were just tired. And here's what's interesting about the deal itself. It's not a permanent fix. The government is only funded until the end of January, so this could all technically happen again early next year if another fight breaks out. Still, the bill does provide some important short-term relief. It guarantees back pay for all federal workers and blocks any layoffs through January. That means about 1.4 million employees can finally start catching up on bills, rent, and groceries. For many of them, this has been over a month without income. Also, food assistance under SNAP, the program that helps over 40 million Americans, will now continue through fiscal 2026. That's a big deal. A lot of states were just days away from running out of funding. So for anyone relying on that support, it's at least some peace of mind, even if it came way too late. But, not everyone's happy with this outcome. Many Democrats feel they had to give up too much, especially on healthcare subsidies that are still set to expire for about 24 million Americans at the end of the year. Republicans say they'll hold a separate vote on that later, but for now, it's basically been pushed aside. And President Trump has called this reopening a great victory, saying it proves his administration's commitment to opening up our country. Depending on who you ask, that statement either feels reassuring or a little bit hollow, given how much pain the shutdown caused along the way. Now, if you're wondering how quickly everything will get back to normal, the honest answer is not right away. Some agencies like defense and law enforcement will snap back quickly, but others like education, housing, and the FAA will take weeks, maybe months to fully recover. And speaking of the FAA, let's talk about air travel because this is one of the biggest ongoing problems. The shutdown created a shortage of around 3,000 air traffic controllers. Many were working extra hours without pay, and some just couldn't keep doing it. Airlines were told to reduce flights by up to 10% at major airports, which caused thousands of delays and cancellations. Even though the government's reopening now, the system can't just flip a switch and go back to normal. Experts say it could take until after the holidays for flight schedules to stabilize. That means, Thanksgiving travel might still be a mess. Transportation officials have already warned that staffing shortages will linger through the season. And honestly, this highlights how fragile some of our systems are when the government shuts down. Everything's connected, and when one piece falls behind, the rest does too. Another area hit hard has been national parks and museums. Most will reopen within a few days, but they're dealing with damaged property, backed up maintenance, and in some places, vandalism. Rangers and custodians are returning to weeks of cleanup work. And these aren't just tourist sites. Some of them fund local economies that depend on visitors. So the financial ripple effect goes way beyond just Washington. For those of you receiving Social Security or Medicare, your payments and benefits should continue as usual, but you might notice slower service or longer wait times for a little while. During the shutdown, customer service lines were understaffed, and those backlogs will take time to clear. So if you've been waiting on a replacement card or a benefit adjustment, just expect a little patience might still be needed. Now, let's talk about the politics for a second. Polls show that most Americans blamed Republicans for the shutdown, around 50% compared to 43% blaming Democrats. And with next year's midterm elections coming up, both sides are trying to spin the narrative. Democrats are saying this was proof of Republican mismanagement, especially on health care. Republicans, on the other hand, argue that the shutdown was necessary to get spending under control and to push for stronger fiscal discipline. But here's something worth thinking about. Even though the government's reopening, the pattern keeps repeating: temporary funding bills, political standoffs, and a lot of uncertainty for regular people who just want stability. It's like patching a leaky roof over and over instead of fixing the structure underneath. Each time it happens, confidence in the system erodes a little more. Now, some of you might be wondering, how much did all this cost? Economists estimate the shutdown drained billions from the economy and lost productivity. That includes missed paychecks, stalled contracts, and businesses that rely on government spending. It's not just numbers on a chart, either. It's the daycare worker who had fewer kids show up because parents couldn't afford tuition, or the restaurant near a federal building that had empty tables for weeks. Those stories are everywhere right now. And what's more, certain investigations and oversight efforts that were frozen during the shutdown are now kicking back into motion. One example that's been all over the news is the House Oversight Committee's investigation into Justice Department files on Jeffrey Epstein. That process was basically paused during the shutdown because DOJ staff couldn't cooperate fully. With the government back open, those inquiries can finally move forward again. But there's already talk that delays could stretch things into next year. And speaking of Congress, there's also been some attention on Representative-elect Adelita Grijalva from Arizona. Her swearing-in was held up during the shutdown, which meant her vote couldn't count until now. But she's expected to be officially sworn in this week, and her seat actually matters a lot. She'll become the 218th vote that could trigger a discharge petition, basically forcing a vote in the House on releasing the Epstein files that so many people have been asking about. Some critics say Speaker Mike Johnson delayed her swearing in to buy time, while others argue it was just caught up in the shutdown chaos. Either way, it's another reminder of how wide the ripple effects have been. Everything from federal paychecks to congressional oversight ended up just pausing for a moment to share something important with you. We've partnered with Chapter, a service we feel confident recommending for clear, honest Medicare help. They'll connect you with a licensed advisor, compare every Medicare plan in your area, and help you save money. Most people save around $1,100 a year. It's free, and their care advocate team is there to support you even after you're signed up. Call 615-639-1937 or visit askchapter.org/money using the link in the comments below. Let's keep going. Stuck in limbo. Meanwhile, inside Washington, there's still a lot of tension. Lawmakers are returning to work after more than 50 days, and they're already arguing over what comes next. Speaker Mike Johnson says it's time to reopen our country, but his leadership has been under pressure for keeping the House out of session so long. On the Senate side, figures like Susan Collins and Tim Kaine have described the deal as necessary but incomplete, saying it only addresses the surface of a much bigger problem. So what does this mean for you? Well, if you work in or with a federal agency, expect things to slowly return to normal over the next few weeks. Paychecks should start going out soon. If you're traveling, expect some lingering delays but gradual improvement. If you rely on government assistance, most programs should stabilize now that funding is restored. But the big takeaway here is that this isn't a clean ending. It's more like a pause. And the next shutdown threat could happen in just a few months. Unless lawmakers agree on a longer-term budget, this same situation could repeat early next year. That uncertainty can make it hard for families and businesses to plan ahead, especially those tied to federal contracts or seasonal programs. So yeah, that's where things stand for now. The government is reopening, paychecks are restarting, and the economy is trying to get back on its feet, but a lot of healing still needs to happen. What happens next depends on whether Washington learns from this or repeats it all over again in a few months. What do you think? Should there be laws that prevent future shutdowns like this altogether? Or do you think it's just part of how the system works? Let me know your thoughts in the comments, because this is something that affects all of us in one way or another. Thanks for watching, take care of yourself, and I'll see you in the next one.